Let's say a word of prayer. Almighty God, who in your wisdom and goodness have appointed the offices of leaders and the legislative assemblies for the welfare of society and the just government of the people, we beseech you to behold with your abundant favor us, your servants, whom you have been pleased to call to the performance of important trust in this republic. Let your blessings descend upon us here assembled, and grant that we treat and consider our matters that shall come under our deliberation in so just and faithful a manner as to promote your honor and glory, and to advance the peace, prosperity, and welfare of our country and of those whose interest you have committed to our church. Amen. Good afternoon, honorable members. You're welcome to this afternoon sitting. Let's commence. Clerk, proceed.
Order number 1, administration of oath.
Next order.
Order number 2, communication from the chair.
Next order.
Order number 3, messages.
I have a message to convey to you, members, and I want to go through it. I have the following message from the Her Excellency Honorable Wavinya Ndeti, the Governor of Machakos County, pursuant to Standing Order number 39. A. County Executive Committee nominee for the Department of Water, Irrigation, Environment and Climate Change. Honorable members, Article 179 of the Constitution of Kenya 2010 provides as follows: that the executive authority of the county is vested in and exercised by a county executive committee. 2. The county executive committee consists of A. The county governor and the deputy county governor, and B, members appointed by the county governor with the approval of the assembly from among persons who are not members of the assembly. Section 35 of the County Government Act 2012 provides for the procedure of appointment of county executive members by the governor. Honorable members, in this, the office of the clerk is in receipt of a letter dated 23rd December 2024 nominating Anastasia Wayua Victor as CCM, Department of Water, Irrigation, Environment and Climate Change. Pursuant to Section 7 of the Public Appointments County Assembly's Approval 2017, the nominee is hereby committed to the Committee on Appointment for vetting and reporting within 21 days. Thank you, honorable members. Next order.
Order number 4, petitions.
Next order.
Order number 5, papers.
May I invite Honorable Nicholas Nzioka, Majority Leader, MCA Machakos County Ward, to come forward and lay down some papers. Welcome.
Thank you, Madam. Thank you, Madam Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the following papers on the table of the Assembly today, Tuesday, 25th February 2025. 1. Report of half-year department performance for the financial year 2024-2025 for the Department of Health. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member. Next order. Sorry, that paper that has been laid by the Majority Leader is hereby committed to Health and Emergency Services Committee. Thank you. Next order.
Order number 6, notices of motion.
May I invite Honorable Nicholas, sorry? Oh. Next order. Sorry, members for that.
Order number 7, statements.
May I invite Honorable Nicholas Nzioka, the Majority Leader, to come forward and make some statements.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Honorable Speaker, the House Business Committee met today, 25th February 2025, after morning plenary, to prioritize business for the House as forwarded by committees and honorable members pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order number 151, Suborder 6D. The committee balloted business as follows. Wednesday morning, 26 February 2025 at 10 a.m. A. Statement on regularization of part of land under Portland Cement Company by the Honorable Francis Carview. B. Approval of report of county budget review and outlook paper by the Honorable Dominic Ndamboki. Wednesday afternoon, Wednesday afternoon, 26 February 2025 at 2:30 p.m. A. Statement on status of dams done under Climate Change Fund in the financial year 2022-2023 by the Honorable Judas Ndawa. B. Motion on provision of water to resident of Kinatnie Ward by Mawasco by the Honorable Francis Carview. Tuesday morning, 4th March 2025 at 10 a.m. Report of the Devolution Committee on Inquiry Report on the status of transfer of water company assets and documents to Machakos County by the Honorable Phoebe Koki. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Majority Leader. May I invite also Honorable Paul Wambua, MCA Kibaoni Ward, to come also and make a statement.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, aware that the Emergency Locust Response Program is a Government of Kenya project funded by World Bank and focusing on preventing and spread of desert locusts, whose key components are surveillance and control measures to limit the increase and spread of existing climate change-induced DL populations, livelihoods, protection and rehabilitation to safeguard and protect the poor and vulnerable households from human capital and asset losses resulting from the effects of locust invasion, to strengthen Kenyan systems for early warning, surveillance and control operations of the desert locust at county, national and regional levels, and project management by supporting the coordination and management of project functions including financing, procurement, training, monitoring and evaluation, and support to environmental and social safeguards. Acknowledging that the emergency locust response project in the financial year 2024-2025 was allocated an amount of 104,600,000 shillings as a conditional grant, which was meant to benefit 5 wards that were affected by the invasion. Noting that Kibaoni ward is to benefit from the program, where different value chains are to be distributed to farmers to compensate on the damage occasioned by the locust invasion. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to Standing Order number 41, 2C, I wish to seek the statement from the Chairperson, Agriculture, on the following. 1. Madam Speaker, Kibaoni ward has not yet received their share of the financial year 2023-2024 funds from the donor, and money, and I note that money was deposited in their account and not yet utilized. I would seek that the chairman gives us the exact amount meant for Kibaoni ward and why the program was not implemented despite 80 groups being selected in the various value chains of goat keeping, poultry, and farm ponds. Madam Speaker, out of the 80 groups that were selected, no group so far has received any benefit from these funds. And I note that some of the residents of Kibaoni ward spend a lot of money, especially those that did the farm ponds. You note that farm ponds, for you to have a farm pond, you need to employ people. You need to employ either machinery or people to dig for you the farm pond, with the hope that the county will give you the dam liners and the nets, and there was supposed to be also a tank. Madam Speaker, some of my constituents have had to sell their livestock and other valuables to have these farm ponds in place. Number 2, what is the status of the project to be undertaken in the financial year 2024-2025, now that we are in the 3rd quarter and no project has been initiated? Explain what is causing the delays of this implementation. Madam Speaker, I have been attending some of these meetings, sending my representatives, and this started as early as 2023, late 2023. And so far, my people have not benefited. And thirdly, what is the Department of Agriculture doing to ensure that the beneficiary get their value chains as per the program? Noting that some beneficiaries have already dug the farm ponds and no compensation has been done, and what happens if the funds are not utilized before the end of this financial year? Madam Speaker, you know that conditional grants come with conditions, and if not spent on time, then the financier might decide to pull out of the deal and then have money returned. And then number 4, what is the status of the procurement process? Because there were committees that were guided by the Department of Agriculture to do procurement, I would also want to know, on behalf of the people of Kibaoni, at what stage we are with the procurement process. And finally, I would like the department, through the Committee on Agriculture, to give us a list of the suppliers who won these tenders. Madam Speaker, I note that that conditional grant is supposed to help the people of the area that it is supposed to benefit, up to and including those that are supposed to supply. And that is the reason why we would also like to know who the suppliers who are selected or who won the tenders are. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Paul. This is a very serious matter before us concerning grants that seems not to have been utilized. The period of the financial year is ending, or it's supposed to be ending, and we don't seem to have done anything despite having 8 groups having been selected. So I want to call upon the committee concerned, and before I commit this statement to them, I want to ask them to address the concerns raised by the member, because to me they are very serious concerns. So at this point, that statement is hereby committed to the Agriculture Committee, which should respond to this House on or before 18th March 2025. And members, when I commit these statements, please try to keep the timelines. Try to rush and make sure that within this period, these are like 3 weeks, I think you can do a lot within that period so that we can address these matters as a matter of priority and with the urgency that it is portraying. Thank you. Thank you, members. Next order.
Order number 8, motion, approval of report on county receiver of revenue for the financial year 2023-2024.
I invite Honorable Francis Kitaka, Chairperson, Finance and Revenue Collection Committee, to come and move the motion before us.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Pursuant to Standing Order 190, Order 5, I wish to move the motion that this House adopts the report of the Finance and Revenue Collection Committee on County Receiver of Revenue for financial year 2023-2024, as laid on the table of the House on 25th Tuesday, February 2025. Thank you, Madam Speaker. And I hereby call Honorable Paul from Kibaoni to second.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Paul. I now propose the question that this House adopts the report of the Finance and Revenue Collection Committee on County Receiver of Revenue for the financial year 2023-2024 as laid down on the table of the House on Tuesday, 25th February 2025. Before I call upon members to debate this matter, I would request the chair, the mover, to come forward and highlight on it.
Thank you, Madam Speaker and honorable members. I have a brief highlights of the report, which has been shared to our sets. So I would therefore request that I briefly go through it, and then we can proceed. Honorable Speaker, the report of County Receiver of Revenue for the financial year 2023-2024 was initially submitted to the Assembly on 31st July 2024. The department resubmitted an amended report on 30th September 2024. The report was submitted pursuant to Articles 183(3) and 185 Suborder 3 of the Constitution, Sections 157, 166 of the PFM Act 2012. Honorable Speaker, the composition of the committee is as shown on the report, so I will request that I just keep that because members can refer.
Sure.
Honorable Speaker, the report reveals that the on-source revenue for the county was 1,578,818,011 shillings, while other donation and grants not received through county fund in form of facility improvement financing were 26,583,043 shillings. giving a total of 1,605,401,054 shillings. Honorable Speaker, from the report, it can be noted that the county did not meet its revenue target of 4.1 billion shillings, and which was reduced to 3.3 billion for the year under consideration through a supplementary 3 budget estimates. This amount was 47% of the total year's target. Honorable Speaker, I wish to refer members to table 3.1 on page 8, which shows on-source revenue per stream compared to the targeted amount per stream. From this table, honorable members, you will note the following: that the total revenue collected was 1.578 billion. 2, the county missed its own source revenue by about 1.85 billion. Honorable Speaker, you'll also notice that only one revenue stream attained its targeted collection, and that is the market fees. Honorable Speaker, in the report on page 9, the executive cited the following challenges, the reasons for underperformance of revenue collection. 1, downtime of revenue collection system, known as the County Integrated Financial Operation Management System, that is the CFOMS, during the financial year 2023-2024, leading to loss of revenue. 2, inadequate capacity for the newly recruited revenue clerks. 3, lack of proper coordination between revenue collection department and the service providing departments. Honorable Speaker, in this report, the response from the committee to the committee by the CCM Finance proposed the following as mitigating measures to the challenges encountered. 1, acquisition of a revenue collection system, which is at its final stages, according to the CCM member. 2, enhancement of coordination of all departments participating in revenue collection through interdepartmental meetings and development of standard operating procedures. 3, capacity building of all newly recruited revenue staff. Honorable Speaker, the same page 9 of the report. Following the challenges given, the committee undertook site visits to Mavoko and Machakos sub-county offices to find out the challenges the officers may have faced in revenue collection during the financial year 2023-2024. The site visits were undertaken on 15th and 16th of August 2024 for Mavoko sub-county, and on 19th August 2024 for Machakos sub-county offices. At the same time of visit, the committee also had received complaints that revenue system was not operational, and the committee sought to find out the status of the allegations. Honorable Speaker, during the visit, the committee found the following: that the county was using CFOMS to collect revenue, and procurement of a new system were at an advanced stage, whereby requirements from users had been collected. 2, that the revenue system was not able to generate daily revenue reports nor invoices since 27th June 2024 to the date of visit because of technical hitches. Clients were turned back as they could not pay without invoices. In the fields, The revenue officers relied on M-Pesa messages from the client phones as a way of confirming payment, and this was prone to manipulation. At times, they would collect cash and bank later. Honorable Speaker, we also found that the service provider of the old existing system received a certain percentage of 1.5% of the county collection and had since not been paid the same amount since March 2024. This was one of the reasons why most of the functions of the system were disabled. Honorable Speaker, we also found that the new point of sale gadgets used internet, and the revenue officers need reliable provision of internet bundles. There are times when staff ran out of bundles and were unable to collect revenue. They relied on client messages which could be edited, thus leading to loss of revenue. Honorable Speaker, this also encouraged collection of cash in the fields. We also found that the terms of new revenue system that was at the advanced procurement process was to be premised on a sharing ratio, where the provider will be receiving a certain percentage of the OSR collected. Honorable Speaker and honorable members, you refer to page number 10. We engage the CCM finance, the basis and the parameters used to set the revenue targets, as revenue streams had a very big margin of deviation of more than half. For example, the sales, parking fees, hospital fees, conservancy, and park fees. Honorable Speaker, the CCM Finance responded that health fees were set at 1 billion, while the other streams were set based on actual collections of the previous financial year, 2022-2023. Based on 5% factor growth, the committee observes that the revenue target would not have been more than 2.7 billion. Honorable Speaker, further the committee questioned on nil collections of some of the revenue streams, and the CCM Finance responded that invoices were generated using the revenue system did not have substreams, hence nil collection for the public health. Honorable Speaker, when you refer to table 3.2 on page 12, compares revenue collected in financial year 2023-2024 and financial year 2022-2023. From the table, it can be observed that overall total OSR grew by 8.36% from 1.4 billion collected in financial year 2022-2023 to 1.57 billion collected in the financial year 2023-2024. You'll also observe that, Honorable Speaker, that the county collected 26,543,043 shillings through facility improvement financing. And it is also observed that despite the positive growth of the overall OSR, 3 of the top revenue earners in financial year 2022-2023 recorded a negative growth, namely cess, parking fees, and physical development plans. Others that recorded decline in revenue collection were also the conservancy and the park fees. Honorable Speaker, this is the major point of concern when the main revenue streams are declining in revenue collection, and the CCM should ensure this trend is reversed. Honorable Speaker, from the report, the committee observed that the county continued to operate 16 bank accounts with local banks, see attached on page 12, for the purposes of revenue collection, despite a recommendation to operate 1 bank account per bank to collect revenue in the report of the Committee on Receiver Revenue for the first and second quarters of financial year 2023 and 2024. tabled in this House on 9th July 2024. Honorable Speaker, further, the committee requested for a statement of the County Revenue Fund, and we observed the following. The county used 4 banks to collect revenue, namely Cooperative Bank of Kenya, Kenya Commercial Bank, Family Bank, but introduced a 4th bank in financial year 2024-2025, namely the National Bank of Kenya. We also observed that transfers from Cooperative Bank were almost regular at an interval of 7 days, that is weekly, as provisioned. Transfers from KCB Bank were almost regular at an interval of 7 days up to the end of May, but in 2024. But there were 3 transfers in June 2024, and there were no transfers in totality in July 2024. We also observed that transfers from Family Bank was only regular in the month of March 2024, with April, May, June, and July 2024 having 1 transfer per month. Honorable Speaker, the committee had previously recommended to the CCM to ensure compliance with the regulations 81(2) of the PFM, Regulation 2015, which requires that funds be collected and banked within 5 working days. The CCM has failed to ensure compliance. Honorable Speaker, the committee makes the following recommendations. That the county executive member for the Department of Finance, Economic Planning, Revenue Collection, and ICT should fast-track the procurement of a new revenue system that is not pegged on revenue sharing ratio and which the provider is paid one-off to improve on revenue collection. Honorable Speaker, the committee recommends that we ensure that the revenue targets are not over-ambitious, but based on the previous performance and a realistic factor of growth and the current revenue mapping report that the department undertook. Honorable Speaker, the committee also recommends that we ensure consistency and accuracy in all the reports, both quarterly and full year, that are forwarded to the Assembly for consideration. Honorable Speaker, the committee also recommends that we ensure that the Family and KCB banks sweep county revenue to the CRF within 5 days as required by the regulation. The committee also recommends that we ensure the accounts used for revenue collection are kept at the minimum of 1 account per bank unless where the law requires opening of more accounts. Honorable Speaker, we also recommended that we fast-track the process of asset disposal to realize the amount which was targeted in the OSR. Finally, on the same, on the recommendations, we hereby also recommended that we forward the report of asset disposal to the Assembly once the exercise is completed. Honorable Speaker, the Committee on Finance and Revenue Collection is grateful to the Office of the Speaker and that of the Clerk of the County Assembly for the support according during the execution of this task. On my own behalf, I express my appreciation to the honorable members of the Committee of Finance who sacrificed their time to participate in the consideration of this report. I also wish to thank our Secretariat and their tireless efforts. Honorable Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member. At this point, I'd like to invite members to debate this motion, and I want to start with the Vice Chair of that committee.
Once again, thank you, Madam Speaker. When we start talking about revenue, it becomes a very emotional topic for everyone. For us, the elected people, for our electorate who expect us to collect revenue and give services, to the executive who needs to give those services. And therefore, Madam Speaker, I would say that looking at year 2022-2023 compared to year 2023-2024, the improvement was dismal at 144 million, considering the resources that were given to the Department of Finance, including employment of above 400 new staff to help in revenue collection, including revenue mapping, whose report up to now we have not received as a committee despite asking for several times. Madam Speaker, when my chairman, who is also my clansman, which I would call Wasa, we are Amutei. When he was speaking, he talked about unrealistic targets in revenue collection. When when our county government had just been formed, we had a sitting at the amphitheater at the People's Park, and we spoke. The CECM Finance gave us the targets that they needed to realize. And I remember on that day, I contributed and said that we need to have realistic targets. Why do we need realistic targets on source revenue? Madam Speaker, our budgeting is based on exchequer releases as well as on-source revenue. When we do our budgets based on higher on-source revenue targets, then it means that if we don't achieve those targets, then there are services that our people will not get. There are things that the county needs to do but will not be able to do. And that is the case that we are in. That is the situation we are in right now as a county. Because we are experiencing an increase in, what do we call them? Pending bills, because we budgeted on monies that we did not manage to meet. And Madam Speaker, looking at a county like Machakos, a county that borders the capital city of Kenya, a county that boasts of being the bedroom of Nairobi, a county that has several industries and manufacturing units, a county that has got mining establishments. We cannot be comparing ourselves, be at almost at the same level with a county like Makueni, who come for building stones from Cheleni, who come for everything they need from Machakos and Nairobi. We cannot be operating at 1 billion and expect to give our people good services. Just to highlight some of the things that my chairman has correctly and strongly put out. We have each year given funds for improvement or procurement of a new system. Madam Speaker, I don't know whether it's us, the county government, or it's the service providers that lack, or the systems that lack, or what we want, what our specifications of a system that are not found in the market. Madam Speaker, the current system that we are using was procured on a revenue sharing basis, where the service provider was supposed to receive 1.5% of what we collect. The proposal for the new system is still pegged on the same premise, Madam Speaker. This House approved a budget of almost 1 billion for the Department of Finance for the procurement of a system. And when we have given this department almost 1 billion for the procurement of a system, then we cannot go back to the same revenue sharing mode of purchase, because we need to purchase a system one-off, and then probably the service provider, what else we can pay the service provider? Annual fees for consultation or managing our system.
Maybe I need to understand, why is it like that? Like you have to share? Purchase or maybe.
Madam Speaker, we share, like in my small business where I sell milk, I could decide to share the revenue with my worker if I think he does more, or if we agree as such. Like there's a time I used to do farming at Loitoktok. So when the guys who do the actual farming, I give the inputs, they do the actual farming, then later we share the proceeds. I think that is the general arrangement. But Madam Speaker, it is an arrangement that is prone to being misused. Yeah, being abused. Madam Speaker, that revenue sharing system has been a thorn in the flesh for this county, because I remember in the months of, there are 3 months where as a committee we did site visits, and we realized that we are not collecting any revenues because those guys had switched off the system, apparently because we had not paid their share. So it becomes a hindrance to our revenue collection.
Point of order, Madam Speaker.
Madam Speaker, as I finish.
Point of order.
Quote the order. You're relying on Honorable Paul, have a seat.
Madam Speaker, is it in order for the member to cite and give incidences, because the issue of the system having been switched off, and also the issue of the revenue sharing formula? Is the member in a position to share with the House the details of the same? What is the percentage or what is the format? Because I sit in that committee and that information is yet to be provided to us. So if he has that information, it will be good for him to share with the House, because it's also not good to quote or give information within the flow of the House that you cannot provide clarity on the same. Thank you.
And which information are you seeking? Is it the one for system that is your sharing formula, or which one? I want
the sharing formula. The sharing formula, and also if he's also in a position to share the contract or the details of the agreement, because we sit in that committee, and that I know we are pursuing that, and it's yet to be provided. So is he in order to share that information if he cannot provide clarity on the same or share document?
Is that information?
Let me just answer this member. And he apparently is a member of the Finance Committee. This information is in the report that has just been presented by our chairman.
I was asking, is it in the report?
Yes, yes.
I think I heard something.
It is in the report. Madam Speaker, there are points of orders you should not be taking.
Madam Speaker,
there are people who get itchy to speak, and therefore make points of orders that just waste time, Madam Speaker. I was concluding.
Point of information, Madam Speaker.
Okay, Honorable Paul.
Point of information, Madam Speaker.
You said that information is shared in this report.
Yes, Madam Speaker. The information is in the report. When you go to 4.0.
4.0.
That we are speaking about the old system. We have not yet received information on the revenue sharing for the new system. If you look at bullet 1 of 4.0, the system experienced frequent downtimes during the financial year related to the provider manipulations, in brackets, disabling of some functions, as he had not been paid 1.5% share of the county revenue collection since March 2024, Madam Speaker.
Madam Speaker, maybe just a
Honorable
clarity.
Kavyu, the information you are seeking is inside this report.
Point of Madam Speaker.
Have you been answered or not yet?
Not yet, Madam Speaker. If you allow me.
Honorable Don, have a seat.
Madam Speaker,
Let me understand where the
Madam
issue is.
Speaker, that information is available on the report,
Correct.
and that's why I never sought clarity on the same.
Okay.
Is making an allegation that the new system that has been procured is using the same model. That is what the member said. I don't have a problem with the 1.5
Okay.
because it's captured on the report. But
The
he
new
made,
system has not arrived, does it? Is it there?
no, he made the same, Nini.
The old one?
He made the same allegation
Okay.
that the new system is using the same approach of the revenue sharing model.
Like the
So
old one.
that's what we wanted clarity, not on the old system.
Honorable Paul Wambua, were you talking about the old system or the new system?
I was talking about the old system.
Yeah. Which
but
is using the same concept.
If he wants us to go that route,
No. Let me understand. It's me who is asking.
yes, the old system, the existing system,
Yes.
uses the revenue sharing arrangement.
The
Madam
old
Speaker.
one.
Yeah, the system we are
You're
using,
using
currently.
right now.
Yes.
It's using that one.
Yes.
Okay. Honorable Kavyu, are you answered?
No, Madam Speaker is contradicting himself. He cannot talk of our old system and claim there is no new system. So which is the existing and
In
which
fact,
is
I
the
think
old
I'm the one
system?
who has introduced the issue of old and new.
Which is the old
Talking
one
about the
and
one
which
that
is the
being
existing?
currently being used is the one which is sharing revenue.
So which is the old, Madam Speaker, and which is the existing?
Okay.
Because he's contradicting himself.
Honorable Kitaka, let him clarify. Maybe he has a better understanding.
Honorable Speaker, with your permission, I would want to bring to attention to the honorable members.
Yes.
The report that we are discussing is for the year 2023-2024. So, let us read the line clearly. When we say the current, the old system, then, so the report, it is
For
for that
2023.
particular response of what we received from the department.
Yes.
So we are not talking about the current. If there is any system now, actually it is not official to us.
Okay.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
So let it be clear that we do not have a new system, and this report is for 2023-2024. Proceed, Honorable Paul. That's a clarity. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for protecting me. You know, I come from places that are very disadvantaged. Thank you very much.
Are you
So, Madam Speaker,
marginalized?
I come from a marginalized area.
Okay, proceed.
Madam Speaker, we managed to collect 1.5 billion in the year 2023-2024. However, in roadside declarations, our CCM was giving us a figure of 1.7. That has also been highlighted in the report, and we urge that in future, let information be given as is, the correct information. Madam Speaker, finally, I have been a banker before, and when we are lending to people we look at how many accounts you hold. Having many accounts, Madam Speaker, is not a good sign of financial prudence. Madam Speaker, we continue to urge this county to reduce the number of accounts that we operate, because they open us to incidences of fraud and other manipulations, Madam Speaker. Thank you, Madam Speaker. I support the report. I thank you, and I thank our committee members who are also present, and the committee that we sit in the Finance Committee together. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Vice Chair, Committee, Finance. At this point, I want to invite to ask Honorable, we start with Honorable Kavyu, we go to Honorable Ndawa, Honorable Johanna, Honorable Maida, in that order. Members, let's...
Speaker,
I don't know whether you...
I think
you are
in terms of presidents...
No,
I've not spoken.
Prominence, presidents.
Yeah, is a ranking member.
So
and
he
should
speak before you.
Yes, he should.
Let's make those changes. Honorable Ndawa. Every day is a learning day. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for this opportunity, and thank you, my deputy, for giving a chance to speak before you. You know, old age, if you are more senior than the other one, at least that is an added advantage. And I'm very sure those who are younger than you will also give you that respect. Honorable Speaker, I want to take this opportunity to thank our most able chair, together with the committee members, for this brief and self-explanatory report. Honorable Speaker, I was once a scout, and the law number 7 of Scouts says a scout obeys orders of those in authority without questions. But when it comes to monies, questions must be there. Honorable Speaker, we obey orders of everyone, but when we are talking about finances, we cannot afford to ask questions. Honorable Speaker, the committee has been burning midnight oil to ensure that this report is brought before this House. Honorable Speaker, this is a report of 2023-2024. And Honorable Speaker, in the report, we have compared 2023, 2024, and 2022, 2023. The reason why I'm saying we must ask questions. Honorable Speaker, when we were elected, or when we were sent to this legislature, or this Lancaster House, if I can call it, Honorable Speaker, we started working with the budget which was left by the previous regime. Honorable Speaker, from there, the CCM requested to be given monies to automate the issue of revenue collection. Honorable Speaker, in our budget, because I sit in the budget committee with other members, we managed to give them what they requested for. And I want to thank this House because they approved that request and we gave them money. Honorable Speaker, the comparison that we have in the report, what was corrected in 2023 and what was corrected in 2023-2024, if you look at the figures, they are almost the same, even after spending over 100 million on automation. Honorable Speaker, we must be very serious because we want to see value for any shilling we allocate. Honorable Speaker, in my economics class, there is something we learned about what we call specialization. Honorable Speaker, from the definition I got from my teacher, specialization is concentration on one field of production where one is gifted in. And Honorable Speaker, further we learned that there is something we call point of diminishing return. Point of diminishing return. If you are working on a shamba, 10 acres, if you plant maize, that 10 acres, using 10 employees, and you harvest 20 bags. 10 acres, 10 employees, 20 bags. Honorable Speaker, you may decide to increase the number of employees so that you can see whether you can improve on production. You can add 10 more employees on the same land, that is 10 acres. If you double the number of employees, Honorable Speaker, the yield may go up. You can get, if you are getting 20 bags, you can get 22 or 25. So my question is, Honorable Speaker, working with the 10, you are getting 20. Working with the 20, we are getting less than 25. Is there value for money for that? Honorable Speaker, our appointing authority, the residents of MACHAKOS who sent us to this house, want to see development in our wards. And those developments can only be given by using county resources. So, Honorable Speaker, time has come. Time has come for us as legislators to ensure that there is proper usage of county resources. Again, Honorable Speaker, from the report, we have seen that we are setting unrealistic targets that cannot be achieved. Honorable Speaker, if you look at the first table, which is given there, out of all those revenue streams, it is only one stream which achieved what we expected to get from that revenue stream. Other streams, negative, 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 negative. Honorable Speaker, if we are not careful, we are going to do what we call mark timing in the military barracks. You will hear that when the officers are on parade. You will hear by the left, by the right, marching time, left, right. No going forward, no going backward. Honorable Speaker, we must jumpstart. Whatever is not going on well here, we must ensure that we instill what we call financial sanity in our county so that our county can be moved to the next level. Our governor, actually the governor, is very much passionate, saying that we are going cashless. The CCM is on record saying that we don't take cash. The report is here. It is saying because of maybe interference by the service provider, sometimes the system is down. We cannot collect. What happened? And somebody want to pay. We are forced by circumstances to take cash and bank later. That is the underlined word, Honorable Speaker. You collect from morning, then maybe you send the money in the evening. Honorable Speaker, if you send somebody to go and harvest honey from your beehive, and you expect to get everything that is collected from that beehive, you are cheating yourself. You are cheating yourself. The moment you get that honey from the beehive, some is left on your hands, fingers, and I'm very sure you will not go and wash. you will make sure you use your tag to ensure you consume that. And that is now the room we are giving to these revenue collectors. Honorable Speaker, let us be very careful about this. Let us assist the governor, let us assist the government to ensure whatever is supposed to be collected is collected and banked in the right account. Honorable Speaker, we have been told by the chair in the report that we have very many bank accounts. And as you are aware, every account has what we call ranger fees. So we are paying fees on this account, fees on this other account, fees on this other account. At the end of the day, we are spending a lot of monies on ranger fees. If we can have less accounts, I'm very sure the amount charged on our accounts is going to be less. Again, Honorable Speaker, the report has shown us that we were not able to dispose our assets. And Honorable Speaker, from the department, we are not getting any reason as to why we were not able to dispose. Honorable Speaker, some of the assets we are talking are wreckages of motor vehicles. And as you are aware, Honorable Speaker, motor vehicles do not appreciate, they depreciate. So if we are to sell at a certain amount that financial year, and maybe we are selling the other financial year, the value will have gone. So as a count, Honorable Speaker, we are losing. And that is why I'm saying now time has come for us to wake up and ensure whatever is supposed to be done is done and done correctly. Honorable Speaker, the chair, while reading this report, is on record, or the report is clear, that sometimes the CCM is summoned maybe to share some information. And instead of coming to share the information with us, he just sits down and put it on record. Honorable Speaker, Article 187 of the Kenyan Constitution gives the county assembly and any of its committees power to summon anyone to give information, whether held by an individual, by a group of people, or by institution. That is what the law says. And Honorable Speaker, in our standing orders, in the case one is summoned or is invited, he doesn't show up. Is summoned, he doesn't show up. The standing orders are very clear on what should be done. So, Honorable Speaker, these legislative or these books which contains laws, whether the County Government Act, whether the Constitution, whether the standing orders, those laws are not just put there to stay there. Let us make use of those written laws. Honorable Speaker, I want to thank the committee because they are very neutral. In fact, the report is not biased. And we are speaking with a lot of voice because we want to give the best. We want to ensure that the governor gives us the best. We want to ensure that our county gets what it's supposed to get so that we can deliver project to our electorates. So, Honorable Speaker, I support the report and request, once the report is approved, Honorable Speaker, I'm requesting that the recommendations given here, because they are there, let us make use and let us make sure we implement the recommendations of this committee, because these recommendations are done in good faith. We have done this recommendation to assist the county move forward. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I support the report.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member. I had, are you senior to Honorable Johanna? Honorable Kavyu, are you senior to Honorable Johanna? Because you said you want to give your seniors opportunity. So you will. Honorable Johanna, proceed.
The word is ranking. Thank you, Madam Speaker. Yeah, I stand to support the report from the Finance Committee. Madam Speaker, much has been said, but I will still emphasize on the need to set realistic targets. But to me, I may not really say these were unrealistic because, Madam Speaker, when we vetted the CECM finance, we were vetting a very competent person. And Madam Speaker, he presented before this House his competence by even narrating how he was able or how he had consulted on the potential of the revenue collection for this county, Madam Speaker. Then based on that revenue potential, I want to believe that that is where he drew the revenue collection targets. So to me, they were very realistic. And Madam Speaker, he also requested and he had also strategies how he intended to meet the said targets. One, which was to engage or employ revenue collection officers, which we gave that budget. And I want to believe that wisdom requires that when you employ, you also capacity build. You cannot employ people, give them work, send them to the field, only to realize, or rather to give an excuse that I am unable to meet these targets because the officers had not been trained. Proper practice would be you employ them, you train them, and then send them to the field if you want to get the intended output. Madam Speaker, in the morning we agreed that we must work, and in order for us to get results, we must also work in collaboration, and each party must be willing to come forward and participate in the success of what we are intending to achieve. Madam Speaker, we have seen from the report that the CECM was invited for interrogation, and he decided to just write. And I want to thank this committee because they tried. Because you cannot ask a piece of paper to clarify on anything. In the end, I picked some issues which were resorted from the absence of that CECM. And I agree with the minority leader that when we invite somebody here, an officer here, we should be able, we are a house of procedure. When time comes for us to summon, we should be able to boldly come out and summon that officer. Madam Speaker, because the officer, the CECM Finance, did not come in person, the committee came across a report on disposal of assets which had missing pages. And they were unable to ask that report with missing pages where the missing pages were. I pity that committee because in the absence of that officer, they cannot even up to today tell us where the missing pages were, and therefore they have committed that they were unable to analyze the report on asset disposal. Madam Speaker, I have seen the accounts. We are saying we should be able to operate very minimal accounts, assuming the accounts can be justified. Madam Speaker, I have looked at the list of the accounts. And assuming we wanted each sub-county to bank their collections in a sub-county account, then transfer to the CRF account. I have looked at that list and I can be able to see that we have a Kadhiani sub-county revenue account, we have Masinga revenue sub-county revenue account, we have Yata, we have several sub-counties. But then I cannot see Mwala sub-county revenue account. Could that have been in the missing pages? Where does their revenue get banked? I cannot see Machakos sub-count revenue account. I cannot see Mavoko, which are the highest yielding sub-counties in terms of revenue. So where does their revenue go to? Madam Speaker, I have seen also in terms of health, I have only seen Mwala level 4 with an account. Where are the accounts for the other health facilities? If that is the reasoning, that we want facilities to have their accounts, so we must be very clear of our intentions and what we want to do with these accounts. Madam Speaker, to end my submission, I have also seen that the issue of the transfer of revenue to the CRF and the regulation 81.2 on the time within which the transfers should be done. I have picked that sometimes in the course of the year under discussion, that in the month of July, there was not even a single transfer. Where did that cash go to? So I have seen the recommendation that we must be compliant on that regulation, and I also want to support that we must be serious with the revenue collection if we want this country to go far. Thank you, Madam Speaker, for that opportunity.
Thank you, Honorable Joanna. Before I allow you, Honorable Majority, and the other members to talk, I want to address this issue of a CCM failing to attend the committee when they have been invited to attend and give information. And members, you don't have to really get frustrated to an extent that you don't get the right information, or the information is sent through a recorded statement, because when you are when you get an information that is recorded, there's a lot you cannot get. You need to interrogate the concerned CCM, the concerned chief officer, the concerned person, so that you can get this information for purposes of compiling a good report. And I've informed this House before that we have the machinery to make sure that those who are summoned come before the committees. And we also have the powers to convict and sentence. This House has powers. If we don't if we invite, that cordial invitation, and we ask you several times, come before the committee, we want this information, and you don't come, then this same House has powers to summon. Summon is a very powerful document or powerful tool to compel whoever is not coming before the committee to come and give that information. And if they don't turn up, we also have the powers to sentence. This House has powers equal to that one of the High Court to sentence and even convict and sentence. So we have all the machinery with us. I don't know why you are getting frustrated. I do not know. So let's proceed.
Information, Honorable Speaker, on what you are talking about.
Yes.
Honorable Speaker, I'm agreeing with you 100%.
Yes.
If an officer is summoned, before he talks or before he gives his submission to the committee, he usually take oath. But when he writes a letter, the letter doesn't take oath.
Thank you.
And you know the reason why they take oath. They take oath so that if they lie under oath, we cite them for perjury.
It's perjury.
We cannot cite that letter for perjury. Right. So, Honorable Speaker, let it be on record now.
Yes.
From today going forward, if an officer is summoned, let him or her appear before the committee. Otherwise, we are going to
The earlier one
behave.
is an invitation.
Yes, the earlier one.
The
Yes.
last resort is summoning.
Yes.
And it has consequences,
Yes.
members. Let's not get frustrated.
Yes.
We are here to work and we are here to oversight.
Yeah.
And we are going to help our governor even achieve
Yeah.
his manifesto and all that when we do what is supposed to be done. Thank you. Honorable Kaviu, you will be the last one. Okay, let me be fair. Can I be fair? Okay. Honorable Majority Leader, Honorable Maida, then your senior.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Thank you, Madam Speaker. I think I'm the senior most in terms of position of authority. Thank you.
Okay. It's all right.
Mheshimiwa Kaviu, Madam Chair, I just wanted to inform Mheshimiwa Kaviu that when I was in primary school, that is when he came into being. So I think you understand, Mheshimiwa. Thank you. Madam Speaker, I want to pick from where you have left.
Thank you.
And say there are certain CECMs that think because of the position they occupy, they are special or they are senior. And but I want to say every CECM who is serving in the executive came through this house and he was vetted by this house. So no CCM should think by virtue of the position he is holding or department he is leading, he is senior than others. Because we have very good and diligent CECM. They are invited and they come. And when we speak, we know those CECM who are notorious of ignoring invitations and very, very quick to write letters citing, I'm not going to appear before the house because of this and this and this. Somebody told me, only a friend will find time to meet you. Only a friend. If somebody tells you they don't have time to meet you, they are not your friend. So, Mheshimiwa Helen, if you keep postponing my date with you, you don't have time for me. That is true. So there are certain CECMs who don't have time for us. And I think it is high time, Madam Speaker, now we go to the next level. You are invited, you refuse to come, you get the summons. I don't want to belabor that. Thank you. Now, I want to invite you, Madam Speaker, to page 12 of the report. And before I invite you, I want to congratulate the Chair and your committee for being thorough despite having limited source of information. And the primary source information is the CECM who should come here and speak his word under oath. Despite you having secondary form of data, you still are able to produce a very good report. Madam Speaker, I want to show you, if I were the CECM finance, I would have sealed these loopholes where monies are getting lost. I want you to look at item number 1, cess. Mm-hmm. It has a drop of 9.2%. What is cess? Let us first of all start asking ourselves, what is cess? So we all know cess is paid on produce. Yeah. And we know there are roadblocks or even, depots where this produce cess is paid. And we all know who mans those cess stations. Yes. And they are notorious. They have been several have been found with 50 shillings and 100 shillings, not more than 100 shillings. Ukiomba change ya 1,000, they are very quick to give you. Madam Speaker, look at number 5, parking fees, a drop of 23.3%, despite us allowing for a very huge increase of employees in parking area. Mm-hmm. That is another dangerous area where we lose a lot of money. Look at physical planning, number 10, physical planning and development. A dip of 12.8%. And we all know what happens in this building. You go with the notorious enforcement vehicle, and you go and sign the card, and you allow the person to move to the next floor without paying. Madam Speaker, look at administrative control, fees and charges. That is number 13. It was, I'll come back to that, but look at park fees. Park fees is Mulumotesia Park, People's Park, those fees. They had a drop of 13% because they are being led to use them for free. Sure. Or people are getting that money. However, look at the contrast, Madam Speaker. Look at item number 6, market fees. the interpretation of that statistic is the government or the department is pushing the downtrodden, the mamamboga, to pay fees and not the people who have the money. That is the interpretation. Because how can you raise market fees from 13 million to 61 million? It means all your effort on a very small scale traders.
Sure, that's it.
237% increase.
I agree.
I'm on the floor, Madam Speaker. Someone is calling me a terrorist.
No.
Not me. Thank you. Madam Speaker, look at it. Look
You are saying very important things, so they are supporting.
Thank you. Look at item number 13, administration, control fees and charges. This is the famous enforcement fee. And in enforcement, there is an increase, which shows we are arresting more people to make them pay. The same mamambogas, the people who sell sausages and eggs here in this town, the people who hawk sugarcane and clothes, those are that the government is targeting the downtrodden according to these statistics, and leaving the people who can be able to pay to build high-rise building not to pay. Sure. So I think the interpretation of this statistic is we are losing money from the big fish and pushing the small fish, to continue suffering, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I take you to page observation of the committee, observation number 2, that the department delayed in procuring a new revenue system despite it being allocated funds in the financial year 2023-2024. Additionally, the new system adopts revenue sharing ratio terms which are likely to impact negatively on revenue collection, as the system will still be, and that is where my problem stands, controlled by the provider just like the current one. How do you entrust an outsider to control your financial system? How do you entrust an outsider to control your financial system? The password, we should be the one having the system and the passwords and everything. Sure. And this outsider controlling, he or she is open to manipulation by a third party. So we are asking, and when I look at, the committee observed that, but when I looked at the recommendation, there's no recommendation talking on how that observation is going to be mitigated against. So I think, despite you having done a good work, I would add that we reclaim the system fully. We reclaim the system fully. I submit, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member. Honorable Maida, then Honorable sorry, Honorable Helen Detty after Honorable Maida, then Honorable Kavi.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you.
I want to thank my colleague, Honorable Kavi, for seeing it fit. But if that precedence is set, Madam Speaker, we might end up killing the upcoming who would wish to be where we are. So I would wish you continue invoking the standing orders and be able to catch the eye of each and every member. I think unless otherwise stated, the only honorable members who have the priority, major priority in any time they raise their hands is the majority and the minority leader. All said and done. Honorable members, I want us to sober up, however much we are sober, and ask ourselves very pertinent questions. You know, Madam Speaker, I'm one person who really feels so much anchored, very pressurized, very disturbed when we discuss about revenue issues in Machakos County. And I want to totally differ with my colleagues who have kept on raising the issue of raising or coming up with unrealistic targets. And I can tell you honestly, and this I will continue saying it here, Mudhwani ward only raises almost 80% of what the figures we are talking about here, Madam Speaker. And this I can prove beyond any reasonable doubt. I've just done a simple calculation of the 1.5 billion shillings that we managed to raise the last financial year. And if you divide by 40 wards, Madam Speaker, it's coming approximately about 38 million shillings. And I think, Madam Speaker, all the honorable members seated here can ascertain from the fees and charges and all the collections, the revenue that is collected in almost every ward, 38 million shillings is sustainable. If you go to upcoming strong revenue bases like Matungulu ward, where there are serious quarries happening in Matungulu, not even to mention Mavoko. Madam Speaker, Matungulu sub-county today, through the quarries, the construction approval of buildings that are coming up, Madam Speaker, Matungulu can be in a position to raise not less than $500 million, $1 billion shillings annually, comfortably. Madam Speaker, when I joined, we came in 2022. I did some checks in Katani quarries, and by then we were collecting, and the figures are the figures are everywhere in the revenue offices in Mavoko or even in the headquarters. We were collecting approximately about 500 million shillings. And when we did research and got to know what happens there, and reshuffles were undertaken, Madam Speaker, within a period of 3 months, we could raise a minimum of 2.5 million shillings daily in Katani quarries only. If you computate that, Madam Speaker, it's approximately about 70 million shillings in a month. In a year, you multiply by 12, it's almost about 900 million shillings. Katani quarries only. You've not gone to construction sites. You've not gone in terms of the court charges, approvals, rates. Madam Speaker, we are joking. This county is not serious. To make it worse, Madam Speaker, we went ahead and employed over 400 revenue clerks. And without any fear of contradiction, Madam Speaker, I will say this. We have just devolved corruption to those people, despite that we have employed them. If today, Madam Speaker, a lifestyle outreach was undertaken to some of those people who were employed, those clerks today, they are living better lives than some majority of us here, honorable members. They came, they were never driving, today majority of them are driving. They came, the way they were looking then and today, a year almost down the line, Madam Speaker, there's a very big difference. That tells you what? Their pockets are growing on every single day. Today, whenever you come across any revenue officer in Machakos County, they will tell you, Sunisaidie, I want to go to the quarries, either in Matungulu or in Katani. What does that tell you? Everybody wants to come to Machakos town or to Mavoko or to Matungulu. Reason being, there is a lot of money in circulation from construction of buildings and everything, Madam Speaker. How do we sit here and talk about 1.5 billion shillings revenue collection? Yet our neighboring county, Nairobi, is collecting more than 10 billion shillings, Madam Speaker. Even to the tune of 15 billion shillings. Madam Speaker, it leaves no questions than answers. When you enter your Kimau coming down to Machakos, the amount of construction that is taking place will tell you that we are a serious joker in terms of revenue collection. And Madam Speaker, I want to give a practical example. Yesterday, as I was seated here, I received so many calls. Then I was like, I could not come out to go and speak. Then later on, I had to rush because there were more, the calls were coming consistently from one person. And then this guy tells me, Honorable Mheshimiwa, I want you to assist me. My truck has been arrested in Mulolongo. It is delivering goods to Machakos. It has been intersected by county inspectorate officers. And they are telling the driver of the truck, you are illegally entering Machakos County because you don't have a sticker to come to Machakos County. Madam Speaker, do you want to tell me the vehicles that are coming from Mumias to deliver sugar in Machakos know that they are supposed to have a sticker? And if they come, they are supposed to be told the process on how to acquire that sticker. It takes less than 10 minutes to acquire that sticker and you proceed with business. But what happened yesterday, Madam Speaker? The driver was held captive and he was told, you have one option. You either go to court or you deal with us. Within less than 10, 20, 30 minutes, those guys went home with 10,000 shillings. And an annual sticker costs only 2,500 shillings. So the county never got 2,500 shillings. The truck never delivered the goods it was supposed to deliver to Machakos. So that businessman in Mavoko and Machakos County, who was supposed to send goods and pay our annual license today or tomorrow, cannot do that. And that is one scenario, Madam Speaker, that was reported to me yesterday. Luckily enough, I've shared the same with the CEC Finance and the relevant departments. But ask yourself, Madam Speaker, in a single day, from Mavoko to Mwala to Masinga to Matungulu, how many of such incidents are happening today, Madam Speaker? It is very unfortunate that we are losing millions and billions of shillings from rogue county revenue clerks and officers who don't understand the pain that honorable members undergo every single day, receiving calls from their electorate about the delivery of services that cannot be realized because of lack of finances. Madam Speaker, now we have to take the bull by its horns. It's unfortunate. We argued here 2 years down the line about a system, gave the CEC, came here, pleaded, proved to us beyond any reasonable doubt that I needed these 100 million shillings to procure a system. Madam Speaker, from the percentage that has just been given to us here, I've just calculated and seen for the last 2 years, with the 1.5% agreement, the county ought or needs to have paid about 44 million shillings. Because it's 1.5% of the revenue that is collected. And I can honestly, Madam, tell you, honestly, Madam Speaker, even the figures that are on this column might be doubtful as per to us. So if 1.5% was paid, then it means for 2 years, consecutive years, somebody has gone home with over 50 million shillings. So where did the money that we gave the department to procure a system go to? That officer needs to be held accountable, Madam Speaker. For 2 consecutive years, we cannot have given a department more than 160 million shillings, and they have failed to do anything. And then we sit here comfortably and start saying, this officer does not do this and that. Madam Speaker, you know, yesterday I was told something by somebody. When you are going to the office of the chief or sub-chief, and there is a flag that is flying there, you don't have to ask, where is the chief's office? You can see, because the flag is there. A sign that it's a government office. Honorable members, we have to rise above the way we are today. We have now to wake up and say, enough is enough. Revenue collection translates to service delivery to the people. We cannot continue speaking of people who don't want to come and answer to responses. We have the teeth to bite. We have the powers to let them go off and employ others who are more than competent to deliver the services. And it is intentional, Madam Speaker, whatever is happening in our revenue collection system. It is intentional, outrightly intentional. We have even officers who have worked in various wards for more than 2-3 years. They are transferred, they are taken back because of personalized interests, Madam Speaker. We have to get this matter seriously. The figures that the majority leader has said, honestly, for example, in my ward, in Modwani ward, you cannot tell me construction costs have gone down, yet every single day there is not less than 5 biddings taking place. And most of those buildings have building approvals. Where is that money going to, Madam Speaker? We need to be serious. And if somebody has to go home, let that person go home. Because at the end of the day, the buck stops with the members here. They will be asked, we will be asked by our electorate, what did we do about service delivery? And we cannot do service delivery with bare hands, Madam Speaker. Finally, you know, Madam Speaker, it beats no logic why a county like Machakos will operate with more than 10 accounts. You know, like the business of insurance guys. They promise you a lot of things. And at the end of the day, Madam Speaker, you find that whatever you got from A and B, C of insurance is more or less the same thing. But they will confuse with a lot of terminologies. But at the end of the day, the benefit is the same. Why do we need to have more than 10 accounts? Madam Speaker, that is outright theft. And there is more than what meets the eye. We cannot have a single account like in Machakos having more than 10 accounts. How would you even and even some of the areas, Madam Speaker, where they have listed, they have accounts, we don't even have a bank. inexistent in that area. So where do they bank the money? You know, Madam Speaker, we have to be serious. And because my colleagues would want also to contribute to this matter, to end, honorable members, we have now to be serious. We cannot allow a few people to continue running away with the county monies under the pretext that we cannot be able to collect more. It is not impossible, it is untenable, it is unrealistic, it is uncontainable anymore. Someone must be held responsible, Madam Speaker. We cannot have employed over 400 clerks plus the existing ones. And Madam Speaker, we are collecting 1.5 billion. It's a big shame. At the river itself, MACHAKOS sub-county can even give this county more than 3 billion shillings if we are serious in our work. But with whatever is happening, revenue clerks becoming consumers of the same at the source, it's a big pity. I support this report. But now, as an house, however much the committee has given us a report, we have to sit back and ask ourselves, what next after this report? In fact, Madam Speaker, with your interjection, we need now to summon the CEC Finance and his team in the committee of the whole house so that we can come and fry him, if not properly, completely. Thank you, Madam.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Honorable Ndeti, then Honorable Kavio.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'm a member of this committee, so whatever you are discussing, we are discussed in the committee, and I don't want to repeat myself because most of the things that I would have loved to say have already been said. But there is only one item that I picked, that in our recommendations as a committee, we have said that we will not allow the new system to have cost sharing. And I think as a committee, we are serious about it, and we want to look at it. We have requested for the contract. We want to understand it before it is commissioned. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Ndeti. Honorable Kavio.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, as the chairperson finance was taking us through the report, I was just wondering, 2022-2023, Madam Speaker, that was the year we were transitioning from the previous regime, and it was an election period. And Madam Speaker, I was wondering how come, even in the midst of all that, we were able to collect a total of 1.4 billion. Then the following subsequent year, 2023-2024, with over a pool of 500 revenue staff that were added on top of the existing, we only managed 1.5 billion. So, Madam Speaker, what this means is that something is not right with the way we are managing our revenue management system. And Madam Speaker, for instance, an item like cess, every day in MACHAKOS and especially Mavoko and Matungulu, new quarries are being opened on a daily basis. Here in Lukenya, people don't sleep. Kids are not able to concentrate in schools that are within there because 24 hours rollies are queuing in and out of those quarries, coming in and out to collect. So there is no way, Madam Speaker, we can negotiate about the other thing, but things to do with cess, we expect them to be on an upward trend. So what the CCM member needs to tell us, where is MACHAKOS County money going? Because every time we have we have an opportunity, he talks big. He tries to create an impression on how good we are doing. But, Madam Speaker, numbers don't lie. Numbers don't lie. You can try to paint a very good picture, but, Madam Speaker, the truth of the matter is under the stewardship of the concerned officer, our revenue management has gone to the dogs. And I know whenever we are discussing this, despite him being always busy when summoned, he always finds time to watch and follow. So, we want to ask him, and Madam Speaker, since the last time we approved him here and interviewed the minister, we have invited him for more than, I think, around 7 times. He has never found time to appear before the finance committee. He always cites how busy he is, how committed he is, and we keep wondering, he can't afford an hour to come and provide clarification to this committee. And that business is not being reflected on our revenue collection. So what is he busy doing? Madam Speaker, the other issue that caught my eye is on the issue of the document that we requested, and it was provided with some missing points, missing pages. So, Madam Speaker, I want with your direction, as we adopt this report, Madam Speaker, order that a full copy of that documentation being provided so that we can find out maybe those missing copies, that is the money that was supposed to be providing medicine to our people that has been diverted, because government documents are always serious documents. So you cannot have a government report that you provide to a committee that is a creation of the law, and you provide documents that are not consistent. And Madam, that laxity is what embarrassed our governor at the Senate. He was there, he is the minister, and is not able to answer a very simple question of how many accounts do we hold as a county. That was shameful. And that only explains, Madam Speaker, that a lot is being covered using this aspect of so many accounts. For instance, Madam Speaker, I don't know whether I'm the one who has not toured Kathiani sub-county. In Kathiani, we don't have a bank. So why will we have a KCB account for Kathiani? You go to Masinga, unless there is one side of the Masinga sub-county that I have not been to, we don't have banks in Masinga. If we were talking of Mastu, an account in Matu that serves that region, it will be understandable. But Madam Speaker, as the previous speaker has highlighted, I think this goes beyond the committee. We need to invite the officer before the floor of this house so that he can provide clarity. Maybe the team of 13 people that has always been inviting him to the finance committee seems small, seems of no value to him. So maybe he can appear before this house that vetted him so that he can provide clarity. And lastly, Madam Speaker, the minister has a tendency, every time is invited, he sends to the committee the chief officers. Madam Speaker, the officer is holding that power, that office, in a delegated capacity from the governor of the county. So, and Madam Speaker, you cannot delegate a delegated authority. So, and to make the matter worse, the person who keeps delegating to is an officer who has never been vetted by this house. He has never taken an oath of office. He is serving in an acting capacity. The current chief officer for revenue. So, Madam Speaker, it makes sense when that officer comes and is not privy to some information, you can't blame the officer because he is in an acting capacity and he has never taken any oath, so is not obliged to disclose or to provide information to this house. So, Madam Speaker, I think we are midway our term, and if the officer is tired or he has exhausted his usefulness to this county, then he needs to communicate that to this house so that Her Excellency can appoint somebody who is capable and somebody who is willing to serve the people of Machakos. Because, Madam Speaker, the chair might not say, but the negligence, the contempt that the officer treats the Committee on Finance with is unimaginable. So, Madam Speaker, you quoted some of the powers that we have. And I think through the guidance of the chair, soon, if we don't get those missing pages, we might have to invoke those powers and privileges of this house so that we can get to understand where our money is going to. We want to be sure if we say we are only able to collect 1 billion shilling, we want to be sure that is the only amount that the people of Machakos have paid. And Madam Speaker, as I conclude, we cannot compare to Makueni County that has no single industry. Apart from the recently mango factory that they have opened, we can't be competing with them in terms of revenue. Makueni, with only key focus on business licenses, they are able to do slightly above 1 billion shilling. Then we are here with a population of above 500 factories in Mavoko only. Not even in Mavoko, in Athi River Ward. Over 500 factories that are operational and new factories are coming up. Look at the construction that is being happening. The real estate companies, if not building, we have land that is being subdivided on daily basis. So where is this money going? We need to have that money on the account so that the governor can deliver to the people of Machakos. Our people are suffering because of poor roads, lack of medication, because of insufficient funds. So we want that money. And the other thing that we need to take care of, Madam Speaker, there is a lot of confusion in terms of revenue collection. We can only have one department dedicated to our revenue management. We don't understand what is the role of Department on Trade, because that is also where confusion is coming. We have an officer from the Department of Trade who will come and start negotiating with our people and saying, you are supposed to pay 10,000 shillings